All right, what's up? Welcome back. Hello, welcome to another Tuesday Night Live. Thank you all for joining. We already got a few people here, just checking out who's here. Thank you guys for stopping by. Remember, this is a show for you guys to come on, ask whatever you want. Just a time of community, just getting together, hanging out. So drop your questions in the chat. Let me know what you have going on. We can talk about anything you guys want tonight. This is you guys' show. So with that, I'm going to play a little intro, let a few extra people join, and we'll be right back. All right, we're back. Once again, thanks for joining, guys. This is just a fun time to come hang out, chat, talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. So good evening here in Indiana, in the United States, Eastern time zone. It is 9 p.m. But I realize there's people watching from a lot of different places. Like a few weeks ago, we had people from what was it, Switzerland? We've had people from all over the world, Australia. So in the chat, drop where you are watching from, and then maybe like what time it is. Is this like morning? Is it evening? Yeah, so we'll check out who's here. And then let's see here. We got Platts 33. Good evening. What's up? Miguel's here. Heyo, Ryan. Marisol's here. Hi, Ryan. Matt Roberts is here. Hey, Ryan, stoked to be here. Missed live last week. First run in my Lone Peaks 4.5s this morning. It was good. Awesome. That's cool. Yeah, Lone Peaks. I haven't ran in my Lone Peaks in a little bit. Tell me, guys, if there's any sort of delay between the microphone and the video. I'm using the same settings, but every once in a while, weird things happen with technology. So let me know if I need to adjust that at all, or if it's too loud or too quiet. Let me know also. But yeah, this has been I'm coming off a really big week of training right now. It was, I'm dropping a video tomorrow morning, probably, if I can finish it tonight after the show. All about my run on Saturday, which if you follow me on Strava, it was a pretty big run, considering like what my training's been like recently. Did a 28 miler, about a little over 28 and a half miles on Saturday, and felt really good for most of it. This past week was, I think I hit 70 miles for the week. And so this week trying to pick it back, just keep the momentum going, keep it strong, trying to have like another like pretty solid week right here. But we'll talk about all that once we get into like my training plan and everything. But yeah, let's see here. St. Michael Hikes, what's up from Florida? Danielle Castro, Phoenix, Arizona. Hello. Dan Darling says audio and video sync looks good to me. Thank you so much. Eric the Red. Hey Ryan, delayed entrance. Eric, good to have you on. Matt Roberts, would you make any training peaks plans at all? Oh, that's a good question. I actually have thought about that because like I coach all my athletes through Training Peaks, and everything there is done like on a weekly basis. I don't typically, like I've said in the past that, you can go buy a book and you can get a plan, that has weeks of your training all planned out for you, like 16, 20 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever. With my athletes, the way we work is that I do everything, like on a weekly basis, just so that we're not running into any trouble. Because I think your training needs to adapt, and especially if you're going to pay for a coach, like that's kind of what you should expect, is that they're going to actually look at your training every week and make judgment calls based off of where you are. But what Matt's talking about here is in Training Peaks, you can actually buy plans. And I've actually thought about doing that, because I think that the training that I've developed with my athletes is pretty good. Like I've had some athletes that are real fast. Most of my athletes are like what you call age group athletes, who are just like kind of competing within their age group. They're not like winning races, but they're also not. I mean, some like they're all over the place. But most of my athletes are kind of competing in their age group, whether it's like so for me, like 30 to 35, and then you got like 36 to 40, 40 to 45, and then some races, they even split it up more, like 20s, 30s, 40s, and then male and female. So, most of my athletes are just kind of competing in those areas. But I have thought about putting some sort of like training plans together, so that people could, like download a training plan, and then it would update their Training Peaks, and they would have that plan just like populated for the whole season, which is really cool. And a lot of them, like most of them are pretty cheap, like 40 or $50 or something, or you can even do less than that, like $20 or something for a little training plan for a season or something. So that's a cool idea. I have thought about that. I've thought about doing like PDF plans, just putting them out there as well. But I would recommend people get on Training Peaks and just start using that as like your, where you put all your data, where it all goes. All right. And yep, we know Marcel's watching from sunny California. Wow. That's awesome. I wish I was in California right now. Out in those mountains. I love those California Sierra Mountains. Oh my gosh. Eric says he's bought plans on Training Peaks, for better or worse. Yeah. I mean, some like you're just buying like whoever put them together. So some of them are probably great. Some of them are probably not. Justin B says, "What's your favorite 50+ mile race you've personally done?" Let's see here. So I'll start with just my favorite 50-mile race. I think that would have to be like, I don't know. Like my mind like immediately goes to the first 50 miler I ever did, which was the Jackson County 50 miler, down in southern Indiana, where it was like these trails down there are, they don't like have switchbacks. They just go straight up and straight down, the hills. It's hills in southern Indiana. It's not like mountains or anything like that, but that's a really good race. It's usually held in December, and it's cold, so you gotta like layer up a little bit, but it's nice because you're not like sweating like crazy like we are right now. And then further on than that, like I think like if I'd have to pick probably my favorite race I've ever done, personally, it was probably Run Rabbit Run out in Colorado. That was just a absolutely amazing race, like beautiful area. Like those mountains are just so cool out there. And then Really good people running it. At least my experience with the people that ran it were great, organizers and all of that. So yeah, that's what I would say. Yeah, as far as wanted to just kind of get into some training talk, just kind of like update you guys on where my training is, talk about this new so as you guys know, like I've had now a week with the new like firmware on the Coros watch, the Coros Vertex. So kind of just update you guys on that. As far as features on it, I think this one feature that's really, really cool that a lot of people will really like if you actually use it. And I've started using this feature. It's called the nutrition alert. I think a lot of watches kind of have this now, but I've been using it the past couple long runs. And the way I've set it up is that I've got my nutrition. It's just a reminder that pops up on your watch like every 40 minutes. And you kind of, like at first you kind of think like this is kind of dumb. Why would I need this? But it's actually really cool, and it's actually like it really helped me over the weekend because I was out almost like close to 6 hours on this last run on Saturday, and just really like after 3 hours or so, you start to totally start losing track of time. And if you're trying to eat or do any sort of like nutrition based on time, it just becomes like just really hard to do. So this nutrition reminder was great. Like I said, they probably have it on lots of other watches. I've just never used it before. But I'm going to be putting it to good use during all my long training runs and races from here on out. But yeah, I mean, as far as the firmware update, like everything like seems like it's pretty good. Like GPS has always been pretty good with Coros watches. GPS actually it seems really good. Like we were going through some of the tracks. I was looking at some loops I was doing on this last run, and actually we can just pull that up. I'll show you guys what it was. Let's see here. All right, so here's okay, so this is my training peaks right here, and we're gonna go into this last run Saturday. So you can see here, this is so this is what I'm talking about kind of here, like in these woods, like the GPS track is it's really good. And this is like full tree cover, like we're going up and down hills. And these, like you can see, I mean, all of these lines are probably like within like 10 feet of each other. And then once you get out into like clear view of the sky, like satellites, it's like they're almost like dead on. You get into some tree cover again, you're like within like 10 feet of each other. But I'm really impressed with Coros GPS. If you want to take a look at some of these stats, check this out. This might look like a bunch of just like garbage, like data. But something that's really interesting, like this run, this past Saturday. So my goal on this last run, this long run, was to be out for 25 to 30 miles and to really, control my heart rate. So that meant really control my body temperature as well, nutrition and hydration. Because once you start letting those things go, like if your nutrition or your hydration or your body temperature is, you're not able to control that, you're really not going to be able to control your heart rate either. So I really wanted to keep that in check, and I really just wanted to finish the run without passing out on a bench, but then B, just like get to the end of the run and feel like exhausted, but okay. And so this is in Training Peaks, you can do some cool stuff here. Like you can click on your heart rate, data, show zones, but then you can also hide others, which is really cool. So now you get in here and you look at this. So like this down here is my zone 1. So I kept my heart rate in zone 1 for almost the entire day. And there was just a few points on probably some like hills, maybe parts where I was just pushing just a little bit, and I got into zone 2, which is like, I mean, I totally kept this in check. And also should mention that I was using my Polar H10 chest strap. So this heart rate data is like really, really reliable. And then let's go back in here. We can show everything, hide zones, and then let's show power, hide others. So my power also, I kept that in check, zone 1, basically the whole time. And that was the goal. I wasn't out here to go win a race. I was out here to be on my feet for 25 to 30 miles, and was able to keep everything like really, really in check. And see here, close that. Finished the week. Where are we at? 70.6 miles over here. You can see that. 629 TSS points, which is really good for running. Like I've been averaging somewhere around like 500 to in the 400s as well, 450 to 500. But to crack 600 TSS points, which if you guys aren't familiar with Training Peaks, TSS is like your training stress score. So it takes into account basically all the data that you're pushing into this software, and it gives you a score at the end of every run, bike ride, swim, walk, hike, everything that you're putting in there. It's giving you, it's taking all that data, crunching it, and giving you a score at the very end, which then can help you like make better judgment, make better decisions about training and everything. But to come to the end of the week to have 629 TSS points, like that's pretty good. And like with running, anytime you can get into like that 600-700 area, like that's a pretty tough week. Running so if you're doing like triathlon, like because there's a lot more. The sports are very different. Like swimming and biking, like you can gain a lot of stress points without putting a whole lot of damage on your body. So in triathlon, like it's a little bit different, or cycling, it's different. Like other sports are a little bit different. So triathlon, like if you hit like 1,000 TSS points, like that's a pretty good, like a pretty hard training week. Like you might do a block of like 1 or 2 or 3 of those weeks in a row, something like that. Like that would be something like a training camp. Like you would go and you would just like crush yourself for a week. But with running, once you get to like 600-700, you're putting a lot of stress on your body, which is really good for certain parts of the season. So really solid week there. This week. I've just had 2 runs really. There was 2 workouts here on Monday, where I actually tried to create a workout on my Coros watch. And one thing that I'm really not a huge fan of with this specifically, and I don't think other brands work like this, but I could be wrong, because I've done this on pretty much all the watches I have, is like you plan a workout in the watch or on your phone and you push it to the watch, and you have certain intervals that you want to do. For this one, I just had one interval of, I wanted to go 7 miles in zone 2 and power zone 2. And that was it. One interval, 7 miles, power zone 2. Well, I started and I was, about half mile in, I decided, okay, like my body, like after this weekend, I'm not going to be hitting zone 2 consistently. So the first 2 or 3 miles, I'm just going to work into it. I'm going to hang out in zone 1. Well, the watch, it's the feature is there on purpose, but it beeps and vibrates at you about every like 30 seconds telling you that you're not in the right zone. And like, I'm fine with it doing it like once or twice, maybe, to like give you a warning. Hey, you just exited the planned zone that you're supposed to be in. And then maybe another one like a few minutes later if you're still hanging out there. But like this, it was just like, it was going off like it felt like every 20 or 30 seconds, and it was getting super annoying. And so I hit the lap button to see if I could just finish the interval, and then just ended the workout. Which, I don't know, I guess that's how it's supposed to work. But I would have thought that it would have given you at least the option, because every other time you end the workout, it makes you hold the button for 3 seconds to end the workout. And so I would have thought at least they would give you that. Like, would you like to end your workout? But no, it didn't. It just ended it, like, zero warning, just hit the lap button and it was over. And it was like, okay, here's your half-mile run. Good job. So I real quick started another run, and didn't have that problem anymore. So yeah, just a little, I guess that's a little maybe feedback I would give Koros, if any of them were listening to this, is that when you plan a workout, you don't always want to stop the workout and stop the activity when the plan is done. Like sometimes like you want to just do a cool down, like just a little shakeout run for another like 2 or 3 minutes. Like, but you don't want, like, and you want to track that. Like, just give me the option. At least give me a warning that the workout is ending and that the file is going to be saved. Because that would have been really frustrating had I done that for a really long workout or something. And anyway, enough of that. But yeah, so this week, at 14 miles after 2 days, which is pretty solid. Getting into tomorrow, I'm going to do some intervals, but I am going to play this by ear. Like tomorrow when I start my run, and then get into this first interval. Here I've got like a 1.5 mile warm up, and then we're going to do mile repeats hard at like zone 3. So it'd be like 302 watts to 335 watts, and then a 1/2 mile cool down in between each interval, and then a cool down at the end. And this is going to be a pretty hard workout. Mile repeats in zone 3 are, they're difficult, like in the middle of a week. So I'm looking forward to that, but I'm going to play it by ear because I have had, this run today, I had just a little bit of pain in my foot, that, kind of like, so a couple years ago I had plantar fasciitis, and, I had a little bit of pain in my foot today, that really reminded me of that, plantar fasciitis, and that was not cool at all. So I'm going to play tomorrow's workout by ear, and then just go with it if I'm feeling good, and back it off and just do maybe like 4 or 5 miles easy tomorrow if I'm not feeling good. Then get into it. And then the weekend, shooting to hit a long run of 30 miles on Saturday and then 15 on Sunday. Hopefully finish the week with somewhere around 75 to 77 miles, depending on how these 2 runs go here at the weekend. And then just taking it week by week. Next week probably won't be a big week, but it could be. If I come out of this weekend feeling more adapted after this past weekend, we're just gonna see how it goes. If I'm feeling like absolute trash, like I'll just back off on this weekend. I'll back off on this week a little bit, the 7th, and then going into the 14th into my 50 miler on the 18th, which is just a self-supported 50 miler. Haven't really picked where I'm going to do it yet. But I've took Friday off work. So I'm going to make it happen September 18th. As long as it's not snowing or something. Yeah. So, okay. Well, a bunch of questions. Shoot. Okay. Let's get into some of them. Let's see here. Dan Darling says it's race week, and for me, any best practices or tips you're willing to share for a very sandy 200K with night running? Sandy. I don't have a lot of experience with running on sand. There's a trail here that's close by where there's a couple miles of sand on it, and I don't like running on that trail. So, no, I don't really know. Like as far as, I mean, I think like the best advice, I don't know what I can tell you the week of the race. Like had this been like 2 months ago, I would say, go practice running on sand at least once or twice a week. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you've already taken care of that. As far as gear though, that will be really important. And I would say like probably you're going to want to pack probably more socks than you think you might need, and maybe another extra pair of shoes or something like that. Definitely wear gaiters. Even if you've never worn gaiters before, if you're running in sand, like wear gaiters. Like I wear gaiters for all my races anyway, even if there's no sand that I know of, just because it helps keep the inside of my shoes and my feet and socks just like so much cleaner. Like I've ran races before where I'll come back to the hotel or something afterwards, and like my leg and the top of my sock, like above the gaiter, is just trashed and dirt and sand and just mud and everything. And then you pull the gaiter off and it's like perfectly clean all the way down to where the gaiter stops at the front of your shoe, and then it starts again. And the inside of your shoe, like in your sock, like there's just nothing, like you don't get stuff in there. So that's what I would say. I would say gear is going to be really important for you in this situation. Buy some gaiters and just slap them on. You're not even going to know they're there. And if for some reason you hate them or something, just take them off and put them in your pack. Like they weigh nothing, but they could save your race. And then night running. If you haven't ever, I mean, I would say if you're running a 200K, you've probably done some other races before that have night running involved. So I would say that, rely on your past experiences with that. But if you haven't ever done it before, like you're obviously going to need lights, headlamp, and it's just going to be tough. Like you're going to, like if you're going to go all night, like you're going to be, you're going to have to be like mentally like strong throughout the night, or like team up with some people. Like that's kind of like all of my 100 milers I've ever done, I've tried to either team up with someone throughout the night or at least stay with a pack or a couple other runners, just because it's at Grindstone. I went into the night and I was following a couple people. Like I didn't know anyone that was doing the race. Like went down there to Virginia by myself, with my wife, and I had a couple pacers that I met on Facebook that I had never seen in person. So I was going into the first night because it starts at 6 p.m. So night hits about a half hour into the race, and I was following behind some people. Like we were kind of in a pack, 5 or 6 of us, and it was a pretty friendly group. Seemed like it was going to be good. And I was like, I think I'm in a really good spot. Came to an aid station, and none of them stopped. I had to fill up my bottles. And so I was trying to fill up my bottles as quick as I could. They like just kind of like grabbed some gummy bears or something and just like took off. And I was like, oh crap. So I was like standing in the aid station by myself, like trying to fill up my bottles as fast as I could. And then also like try to be smart and like eat a little bit of food, because I didn't want to ruin my race trying to just hang on to this group. So I kind of like hung out at the aid station for, after a minute I realized, okay, I'm not going to catch them. I'm not going to waste the energy, especially in a 100 miler. Like you don't want to waste energy. So I just hung out at the aid station for a couple minutes, and no one else came. And so then I just like went off by myself and was by myself probably like 4 or 5 hours throughout the night at the Grindstone 100 in Virginia, in the woods, in the mountains. And that was a very, very tough couple hours. And then ever since then, like, and it wasn't because it was like I was never like afraid of anything or like nothing ever spooked me. It was just like the staring at a headlamp light on the ground for hours on end with no other people around. It was just like, wow, like this is hard. And so then ever since then, like I've kind of been lucky enough to kind of like at least be able to stick with people or like close or like in contact with people throughout the nights during ultras. But sometimes you don't have that option. Like sometimes you're just out on your own. So that would be one tip, is maybe try and stick around some people. But then also like during the night, stay up on your hydration, stay up on your nutrition, because you're still going to be sweating. You're still going to be burning calories. And a lot of times you just don't think to be eating and drinking throughout the night, but you still have to. So there's a couple tips. Let's see here. Oh, Miguel says, looks like Kettle Moraine 100 is a Western States qualifier for 2022. Nice. Yeah, Kettle Moraine, as far as I know, has been a Western States qualifier for at least a couple years. And it's a good race. I like that race a lot. I'm drinking some sparkling water here, Walmart brand. Yeah, Dan Darling says, the nutrition alert feature on my Coros is probably one of my top 5 favorite things about the watch. When running, I think I should take nutrition, but then let me finish this. The alert makes it easier. Yes, that's for sure. It's one of those things where like I said before, like at first when I was like looking at it, I'm like, oh my gosh, like this update includes nutrition alerts. Like this is just a gimmick. But then I was like, I'm going to test it. I'm going to try it. And it was really nice. Like, because my nutrition, like I've realized in the past, I've tried to do everything like on the hour, like take a gel on the hour, fill up your bottles on the hour, just to make that easy. And then after a while you realize, okay, like that doesn't really fit me personally. I need a different type of schedule. So I've figured over the last couple months that taking a gel every 40 minutes is optimal for me. But, you know, then once you get like 6 or 7 hours into a run, like that kind of gets hard to remember when was the last time I took a gel. Was it on the 20 or was it on the hour or was it on the 40? You know, and so you're like just trying to do all that math. But setting up a nutrition alert every 40 minutes, your watch buzzes and it gives you this little picture on there. It says nutrition alert, and like, okay, take a gel, like just force one down. It is a really good feature. And I think one that probably helps a lot of people. It definitely did help me a lot. See, Matt Roberts says, does anyone have any insight on what Training Peaks plans are like when you only have the free account? I'm not sure, but I think you can still buy them. I think the only difference between the free and the paid account is the charts that you can use. So let's pop over here into Training Peaks. So like these charts, you go into your dashboard. There's a lot of charts that you can create, or your coach can create with the paid version that you might not be able to. Like I actually don't think you can view this performance management chart, but I'm not positive. But yeah, but I think that's the biggest difference, is that there's some charts that are missing. But as far as being able to plan out your season and buy plans or anything like that, I think you can. I don't think there's any limitations there, but I could be wrong. I don't know. Plots 33 says, can't wait for my Pace 2 to arrive, but after watching Chase the Summit's review, I'm nervous. His GPS tracks were uber ugly. Oh, shoot. I haven't watched that video yet. So as you guys know, Dave and I are pretty good friends. And we were kind of talking about that, and I didn't know he had posted that video. So yeah. The Pace 2 is going to be really, really good. It's going to be a really, really good $200 watch for a lot of people that run on roads. And it does not have a trail running or hiking activity on it, which is really strange, but could possibly be because maybe the GPS signal is a little weak. I'm not positive. I don't have the watch on me. I do. I looked at DC Rainmaker's review. I looked at a couple reviews, and it seemed to be okay and actually pretty accurate running on roads. But I don't know. I don't know about trail running, and I know that a lot of people watching this right now are probably trail runners, ultra runners. So it's probably going to be a really good watch if you run on roads. But I don't know. They haven't sent me one. I don't know if they will. I think I'm a little too honest for them to send me a watch. Prove me wrong, Koros. Eric the Red says, my problem with Training Peaks is that managing data sources from different devices, I often have to delete duplicate data. Yeah, that can be kind of time consuming. I do spend a lot of time making sure that all of my data is only in there one time. And it's, I don't know, like I don't ever actually really have multiple workouts showing up unless I've got my accounts kind of like screwed up, unless I've got like Strava sending to Training Peaks, but then also Garmin sending to Training Peaks. Like, yeah, it's actually like I spend a little bit of time like making sure that all of that's right. But I use Training Peaks as like that is like the final word on my training and all my data. Oh, shoot. Bradley downloaded the Koros Marathon plan, but it's in metric only. Yeah, that's unfortunate. So, Marcel says, Ryan, I have a question. A friend of mine will be running the Moab 240, hoping it's not canceled. Nice. I have a friend who's hoping to run it too. He's 4th on the wait list right now. Oh, shoot. Where'd he go? I will be pacing her. Nice. Awesome. Congrats. I really hope that happens because you will have a blast pacing her. How many times a week do you suggest she train at altitude? So that's a good question. Moab, it depends on what part of the course. Oh, you're asking how many times should she train at altitude? Okay, I understand now. I would say like you don't really need to worry about altitude training until like the final 2 weeks. That's pretty scientifically proven. That it's fine to train at altitude all the time. Like you're gonna get those benefits, but they really only last about 2 weeks. So, and it doesn't keep building and building and building. It's just like if you go up to altitude for 2 weeks and train there, like that's pretty much like if you can do that, that's what you can do. So I would say in the last 2 to 3 weeks, I would tell her to go up to altitude above, like you need to go above like 7,000 or 8,000 feet if you can. But I don't remember exactly how high Moab gets. I don't know if I can look at that real quick. Moab 200. I'll try and talk while I look. Here, let's just pull this up. So here's Moab. Final 2 weeks, just get up there a couple times. And what you want to do is just spend some time running at altitude. But you're going to get all those benefits in the last couple weeks. There we go, course profile. Okay, so the highest point, so it gets above 10,000 feet one time. It looks like it's at like 8,000 for a little bit. But the majority of it is below 6,000, which is really not, you really don't have to worry about that. You really don't have to worry about the altitude. People start getting sick around 8 or 9. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen there. And so it's just these last couple miles. Well, by couple, I mean like so from a mile 175 to maybe mile 210 or something. So last like 30 miles, like right in here, where you're really going to have problems if you're going to have problems. And it also it gets really cold there. Being at the end of October. Yeah, I remember there's a couple of aid stations. Some of these aid stations have changed, but Pole Canyon, I was there. Road 46, I was there. That's fine. Like you're at like 5,000 feet or 6,000 feet there. You don't have to worry about anything there. It's just once you get up into the LaSalle's, I would say you're only going to be up there for maybe like 12 to 15, 20 hours at the most anyway. So as long as you get to altitude a couple times during training during those last 2 weeks and do a couple runs close to 8,000 or 9,000 feet, I think you'll be able to adapt enough that you can make it through, because you're going to be doing a lot of hiking during this section anyway. So that's what I would say. I'm by no means an expert at training at altitude because I live in Indiana, but I don't know, maybe I know a little bit because I did. So 2019, was that last year? No, 2 years ago, 2018. I went out to Colorado twice. Once to pace 50 miles at the Leadville 100, and then 4 weeks later to run Rabbit Run 100. Leadville, obviously, the whole thing's like above 10,000 feet. And then Run Rabbit Run, there's like 40 miles or so that are above 10,000 feet. So what I did here in Indiana, I built my own altitude hypoxic kit. I got some plans off the internet and bought a whole bunch of like medical supplies, built this kit, and then you have to buy like these I don't know what they're some type of like chemical beads, put them through a filter and you breathe through this thing, and you do, like, I did these sessions like every night during the last 2 weeks leading up to both of those trips. And there's actually some really like expensive products out there that do this exact same thing, but I made a do-it-yourself kit for cost me like $60, and it was amazing. It was awesome. Like, we did the second day we were there in Leadville, we climbed Mount Massive. That was a 14er, and there were a few points where I had to like stop and like catch my breath and really hold back, but it did not knock me out like I thought it was. Like, I had a headache for probably the first 48 hours. First 2 days probably had a headache. So obviously the altitude was messing with me a lot, but it didn't crumble me like I thought it was going to. And I think a lot of it has to do with this altitude kit that I built and used. And I can probably like find the link to that or something, and maybe I'll make a video about it. I threw it out. But I can make another one. Maybe I'll make a video on that. That'd be fun. So hope that answered your question. Yeah, I'm not an expert, but I did do it a couple times. Eric the Red says, I haven't done a race through the night. Takes guts to do those races. Yeah, running through the night is hard. Chase the Summit says, Dave says, I'm just hoping my Pace 2 is defective. Yeah, me too. I hope that, because that was some pretty messed up GPS track. All right. Dan Darling says, maybe they're holding back the trail run hike feature on the Pace 2 so that trail runners are pushed into buying the Apex Pro Vertex. I think that you are probably right. My hope is that this GPS problem is actually due to a defective unit that Dave or Chase got. He's gonna kill me for that. But hopefully it's just a defective unit and they don't really have GPS problems. And the reason why they don't have the trail and hike feature on that watch is because they want people to buy the more expensive ones. So yes, that's probably what they're doing. Hopefully. I mean, the Vertex, like, I really like it a lot. I don't trust the heart rate monitor, which is really hard because like yesterday and today, I had these runs where, I was, let me pull this up. Like today, I haven't looked at my heart rate data from today yet. But yeah, I don't really, I don't know how much I trust it right now. Like this was my run today and it said I was in zone 1 for almost the whole time and then started peaking into zone 2, just for a little bit, my heart rate distribution. Most of my time though was spent, 26 minutes was spent at like the upper, I don't know. Like I felt like I was hitting like higher zone 2, like earlier in my run. But it also could just be perception. Like maybe the heart rate monitor wasn't off today. Maybe it was just, maybe I was just feeling like the run was harder than it actually was, but I don't know. It's just something I don't trust the heart rate monitor on my Coros watch as much as I trust like a heart rate strap or even my Suunto or my Polar, even Garmin. I mean, like, it's just like, I wish that I could take the heart rate monitor in the Polar Grit and put it in the Coros Vertex. And then honestly, that would be probably the watch I would wear all the time because I really like a lot of the features about the Vertex. Like I really love this digital crown. Like it's so smooth, moving through all your menus and everything, much like the Apple Watch. I like having 6 data fields on one page when you're running. You can get a whole lot of information on there. I don't like flipping through screens when I'm running. That's my biggest gripe against the Polar Grit X is that you can only fit 4 data points on there. 4 data fields. And so that's just really limiting. And I find myself flipping through pages a lot during my run on my Polar Grit. Even Suunto, I think, does 6 or 7 maybe on the Suunto Barrow 9. So yeah, but the Vertex is a really good watch. If they would take the heart rate monitor from the Polar Grit, I would probably wear that all the time. Because now that it connects to Stride and you've got all that data, and it's the best connection, it's the best integration of the Stride pod on any of the watches I have, aside from possibly the Apple Watch. Heart rate monitor on the Apple Watch is actually really good too. It's just the problem is the battery life is only like 4 or 5 hours when you run. So that could get you through like a marathon, but actually tomorrow. So, one thing, my run tomorrow that has intervals in it, I'm going to use my Apple Watch for that because, I plan my run in Training Peaks. I just real quick pop in a couple of those intervals. I put in the target power zones. And then tomorrow when I go to select my run on my Apple Watch, I'm just going to, instead of like just hit start running, you can click this button that says like find workout. And since on my Stride app, I've already logged in through Training Peaks and everything, it just pulls the workout from Training Peaks and says, would you like to start this workout? And then it's got this awesome like interval screen. And it's the best integration of intervals, even much better than Coros's new firmware. Like I said, I did try that and it's just, for me, it's really clunky building a workout on an app. I much prefer a web interface. And if you've never built one in Training Peaks, it's just amazing. Like I'll show you super quick. Let's just do something really, really quick. So like next, let's just plan one for next Wednesday. We're going to add a run. And we're going to call this intervals. Build workout, super easy. Watch this. Like you can just go distance, duration. Say I want to do duration, percent functional threshold power, and a range. I hit continue. I'm going to drag in an interval here. Here's my warm up. It gives you like a starter, 70 to 80% of FTP for your warm up. That's fine. I'll keep that. I'm going to add in some 2-step repeats, put them in there. Boom. It's got 4 intervals. You can go in here and change the number of times. Say I want to do like 6 intervals of hard. I'm going to change this to 3 minutes. I'm going to change this to 1. Let's see. Let's make it difficult. Let's do 1:30. I'm going to do it here, and then we're going to do a cool down. Bam. There's my workout. It's done. 57 minutes. And I've got a warm up. I've got 6 repeats in zone 3. Well, actually, this would be zone 5. But you can easily lower that. And then, so it's a repeat of 3 minutes in zone 5, 1.5 minutes in recovery, zone pretty much 1, splashing into zone 2, and then a 10-minute cool down. There, my workout's done. Save, close it. And then next Wednesday, when I go into my Stride, when I open up my Apple Watch and I do like start workout, it's going to automatically pull that workout in, and the intervals are just there, and it tells you exactly what to do. It's got this bar on there. It's super fast, super easy. And if you use Training Peaks, which I recommend everyone uses Training Peaks, it's just the easiest way to do it. And if there was a way where Koros could integrate Training Peaks, I know that it was a lot of work for them to get Stride on board, but if they could integrate Training Peaks too, oh my gosh, that'd be awesome. Because it's just it's the best way to build workouts, in my opinion. Super nice. Let's see. Oh, Dave jumped in again. Crowded my stream, man. Just kidding. I just assumed the GPS antenna maybe wasn't as strong since it's a road running watch. And in my testing, I took it into fairly heavy tree cover. But that's normal here in the Northeast. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, it's probably, like, who knows? Hopefully you got a defective watch. But I watched your vlog today. I would really love to come out and run those trails. I was getting a little bit of trail envy while I was watching that. Got some fun trails out there, it looks like. Lots of climbs, lots of rocks. Let's see here. Miguel says, "Hey Ryan, I'm eager to start logging data points for my runs. What metrics do you suggest I pay most attention to? We'll be using an Apple Watch with an average of 40 miles a week or so." Good question. I would say if you are using Training Peaks, it's going to be a lot easier than if you're using Strava. You can use, like I use both Strava and Training Peaks, but if you're using Training Peaks, you can do a real quick, you have to, in my opinion, coming from my perspective as a coach, you have to do like a test run. It's best to do it on a track, and this will help get your zones. You do, like, there's a warm up, and then you do, it's like an FTP test, like on a bike, but it's sort of similar in running. And you just kind of like do, like, it's basically like you're in a race, 30 minutes, it's split up into 2 intervals, and it's pretty much like run to exhaustion. And then you come back and you look at that data and you form your run zones from that, like heart rate zones, power zones. And then from there, you can build all of your workouts moving forward. You have your zone set, and you can do, okay, today I need to do an easy run, so I'm going to do zone 1 and zone 2. Once or twice a week, I'm going to do some harder runs, pushing into zone 3, zone 4 maybe. And then 4 or 5 weeks later, 6 weeks later, maybe, could be longer than that, do another test, same exact test. You'll have different results. Hopefully you're getting more fit, and you can change, you can modify your zones a little bit, and then you just keep moving forward from there. If you do that, it's going to start giving you, it's going to be giving you these like training stress score on every single run. Training Peaks does a really, really good job of this. And then you can look at your performance management chart, and you can watch your chronic training load go up or go down if you're detraining. But you can watch that, and this is what that looks like. Going to my dashboard. Here, this is my performance management chart. Let's make it easier to see, like 365 days. So this is like, when I wasn't training, like in the winter and then in the spring. But all of these dots right here are runs. And we've got an intensity score and a training stress score. And then this blue line here is the chronic training load. So that is actually what you'd want to track. If you want to get real into it, you want to be mixing in enough hard efforts, like a few hard efforts every week, with mostly easier efforts, and just keep building and building and building while not getting injured. That's the trick. And then that's kind of what you want to watch. That's what I would recommend. Yeah, if you don't have Training Peaks, some good things to just pay attention to, like, as it can be as simple as tracking your miles every week, and slowly building that up. Like, you don't ever want to double your miles from one week to the next, unless you're very, very experienced. Like, I'm talking about the average, most people that are coming into, like, starting a new training plan. You just want to build up slowly. They say kind of like a general rule of thumb is like 10%, increase in miles week to week. I think that's pretty slow, but it's also like safe. You're probably not going to get injured if you just ramp up 10 miles or 10% every week. I have been feeling like there's a little bit of pain in my foot right now, and that might have been because maybe this past week I went a little bit too hard, a little bit too far, because I've been averaging somewhere around like 50 to 55 miles a week, and then this past week I hit 70. So that's a little bit more than the 10% rule. Like, maybe I should have cut it off at 60 miles, but I made a judgment call. I wanted to hit like a certain type of stress on the weekend because I was a few weeks out from this 50 miler, and I'm not behind in training by any means, but I needed to make that jump. And so I made the call, and like, from my past history and everything, like, I thought I was going to be okay, and I probably am. I just need to watch it this week. But that's the thing, like, you just really need to know your body, and you need to grow. You need to expand your training slowly so you don't get injured. But it could be as simple as tracking your miles. It could be as complex as tracking your training stress and chronic training load in Training Peaks. So hope that answers your question. Sorry if I really went overboard on that. But yeah, just start simple and just start tracking what you're doing. Like, just do what comes naturally at first. And then once you build sort of like a history, move on from there. Maybe make some judgment calls after that. Hey, Terry Joe is here. Hello, how's everyone doing? I'm late. No problem. Glad you're here. And also, for anybody that's watching the replay, welcome. Glad to have you. Hope you drop a comment down below about where you're watching from too. Let's see here. Oh, Liam, what do you like better, Garmin or Apple Watch? That's a tough question because I see them as different device categories. I see a Garmin as that's strictly a fitness device, and the Apple Watch is more of a I don't know what you would exactly call it, but it's an extension of your iPhone, and it can do fitness things. So it's over the years, it's really become a really solid running watch, especially when you pair it with a Stride Pod. It becomes, the data is like almost indistinguishable whether or not it came from an Apple Watch or a Garmin. But I would never trail run with my Apple Watch because if I tripped and fell and landed, I mean, it's glass. It's just going to smash. Like it's not sapphire glass. It's going to scratch. It's going to whatever. And this is just not totally meant for that, in my opinion. But I think that there's a lot of people that could get away with using the Apple Watch as their only fitness device. And I think that it's a great option. I love running with my Apple Watch because it's super light. It's just already there on my wrist, and it's just so nice to just like start your workout and go. And it's pretty reliable too. Like I've never had it mess up. But the durability is a big, I don't know what you would call it. It's just the durability of a Garmin is much better. And also with Garmin, you're going to get a ton of extra of those like workout specific features, fitness features. If you go with like a Phoenix or something, you're going to get an incredible display that has maps and everything. Yeah, you're going to get a lot better battery life if you go with a Garmin. So hope that helps. Oh, I think Dave just invited me to his house. Local tours available anytime. I'd say I have a couch to crash, but you'll need a mask. I've got plenty of masks. Let's do it. All right. Miguel says, appreciate the insight. Hoping to have some updates on how things are going in the next couple of live streams. Thanks again. This is really helpful. Awesome, Miguel. I hope you keep coming back, and I hope to hear how things are going. Thanks. I'm curious, do you keep everything digitally or do you keep some physical notes? Good question. I love the idea of having like a written training journal. And I have a couple notebooks over the years that I have kept, where I would be really diligent about writing how I felt every single day after every run or I was actually doing this when I was in triathlon. So it was like, swim, bike, all that. But I don't do that anymore. I keep everything digitally now in Training Peaks, and I will go in there and make notes. There's a place where you can type in post. You can put in comments after the fact on every workout. And that's what I tell all my athletes to do too. I say the more you can put in there, the better it helps me coach you, because I can go in there and I can read like how things went and how it felt, because it's one thing to look at your heart rate data. It's one thing to look at your pace or anything like that. But when you can put in there, even just like Training Peaks has these things now where you can do like frowny face, smiley face. And those are really great too, because that's like actually really important data to track as well. Did the run feel good or did it feel horrible? And the more of that you track, the more insight you can get into your training. So I would say use whatever's easiest for you. But I do keep everything digitally now. Let's see. Eric says, yeah, it's an issue with Strava, Stride, and being able to send workouts two ways. I use workouts from Training Peaks or Stride on Apple Watch, but also track overall fitness with another watch, Garmin. Yeah. So that can get complicated. The fitness tracking and like steps and all of that data is just, I don't ever use that data because it's coming from so many different devices. And so now, so I know what you mean by that. That's just a complete mess. Every single app, every company out there, whether it's Polar, Garmin, Apple, whatever, all these companies, they all think that I probably don't do anything because my activity is like none for like 4 days in a row. And then I'll do like 2 days of Polar and then like a couple days with Koros and switch back and forth. So yeah, all that data is super messed up. Terry Joe says, what's a good shoe to start off for short runs? So I like Ultra shoes. I am on the Ultra Red team. I have to say that. So you know. But I would recommend the Ultra Taurins. They are a really, really good all-around shoe. You're going to get good stack height, good cushion. You're going to get, it is the zero drop though, so you have to be careful. Well, they don't call it zero drop anymore. It's called balanced cushioning. So it's the same stack height in the heel as the forefoot. So if you've never run an Ultras, it's something to get used to. But that's something I would start off with, is the Ultra Taurin. It's good. It's a good shoe. Good evening, Motivational Theory Running. Good to see ya. And you also track a lot of that in Strava. And so they do it too. They do a lot of that kind of stuff. It's just all in different places. And Strava has kind of been just like slow, late to the game and a lot of stuff. And a lot of that stuff is moving to the premium paid account anyway. So I think there is a lot of stuff in there. And the really weird thing, the other day I was looking at my Strava, I forget what they call it. It's not a performance management chart, but it's the same thing basically as Training Peaks performance management chart. And the numbers were exactly the same. It was like really, really freaky. I don't know what was going on, but something with Strava, they've got something going on where they're starting to use, I don't know if it's the same algorithms as Training Peaks or what, but my chronic training load in Training Peaks matched exactly to Strava, which was really freaky. Dan Darling, I'm out for the night, Ryan. Great show as always. Thank you. Keep up the good work. I'll hopefully update you with good news in the next week on my race results, maybe even my own YouTube video. That would be awesome, man. Dan, I hope you do make a YouTube video. You said it now, and it's out there. So now you have to. But yeah, good luck, Dan. If I had some sort of like cheesy music, maybe I would play something. Let's see here. How about some applause? Let's all applause for Dan. Good luck. Hope you do great on your 200K. So, all right. Yeah, that was cheesy. But anyway, good luck on your 200K, Dan. Hope you do great. I'll see here. If you guys have any other questions, there's still a bunch of people here. This is fun. If you guys have any other questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat. I'm probably going to be on for a few more minutes, but we're already we're over an hour. Nice. I did. So it's kind of weird. I don't know if it's working or not, but I upgraded my streaming software so that now I can have these alerts come on the screen when someone like subscribes to the channel or does a super chat or something like that. But it hasn't happened yet. So either it's not working or nobody's subscribing. But yeah, that would be really cool if someone subscribed here and we got a notification. We could all see it happen. Let's see here. Tony Hairman says, have you ever tried Koros plus Stride using structured powered workouts? The alert was very sensitive compared to my Apple Watch Stride app. Let me read again, make sure I'm answering. Have you ever tried using Koros plus Stride using structured power workouts? Yes. So that is exactly what happened to me yesterday, and I didn't like it. I think it would be okay. My problem was that I put in a pretty specific power zone of like, I think it was like 15 or 20 watts that I wanted to nail for this whole run. I was just testing it out. I was just like, let's just throw in something and go for the whole run. Well, I was kind of dipping below it, and I was just like, today's not my day. Like, I'm not going to hit this. I don't want to stress out about this. But it was like every like 30 seconds, it vibrated and beeped and told me that I was in the wrong power zone. And it was very frustrating. Like, I only need like one notification. And then I can make up my mind after that, whether or not I want to jump back into the zone I'm supposed to be in or just stick where I am. So I hit the lap button trying to just advance. I thought maybe that would end the workout, but keep the run activity going. Oh, no, it just killed the whole activity. So yeah, as far as your question is, have I tried it? Yes, I tried it. And the alert was very sensitive compared to the Apple Watch Stride app. Yeah, I like the Stride app a lot better on the Apple Watch as far as creating workouts. Like I did here just a couple minutes ago in Training Peaks. I just built a workout and it could have been 20 seconds, but I was showing it probably took 45 seconds because I was explaining it. But it's just so fast to build workouts in Training Peaks, and then push them to your Stride app, Apple Watch. It's just great. Liam says, I use my Map My Run for all my runs, but my cross-country team used Strava, and now Strava is one of my favorite apps. Yeah, Strava is awesome. I love, I open the Strava app like multiple times a day because I just think it's fun. It's like, it's social media. It's, checking in on your friends, see how your friends are doing. Famous people, like where did Jim Walmsley run today? Like, how are people doing? Watch people like check out some FKTs. Like, it's a really, really fun platform. So yeah, I open it constantly. I'm always checking out people on Strava. Motivational Running Theory says, I always find it interesting to see other running content creators' setups. I appreciate the effort. Thanks. Found you that suggested from YouTube. Awesome. Glad to have you around. Thank you so much. I'll have to check your channel out. I don't believe I've been to it. Thanks. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to wrap this up. Let's see here. Yeah, this has been a really solid week of training. Looking forward to another week. September 1st. It's crazy. August, I hit 249 miles, which I don't plan this stuff out, but I was looking at it, I was like, why didn't I just run like one more mile? But yeah, 249 miles in September was pretty good for me. Feeling good about that. Moving into the next couple weeks are going to be tough. Hitting a 50 miler here in a couple weeks, and then the weekend of October 16th, I believe, shooting for October 16th is when I'm shooting for a solo, self-supported, or something like that, 100 miler. If anybody shows up to help out, I don't know if that's called supported, but I'm not going for any type of FKT or anything, just going for running 100 miles by myself, no race, just going out and doing it. I think it's going to be probably one of the hardest things I've ever done, because races are so fun and there's a lot of people around. There's aid stations and you're constantly going. And like there's just a lot of motivation when you're in a race. And I was thinking about that this weekend when I ran a measly 28 miles compared to 100. And I was like, wow, this is going to be very, very hard. So I'm going to check in with some of my friends that have done stuff like this and just kind of like discuss what the mental side of it was like and what it was like what kind of struggles were there. So maybe I can be a little more prepared for that. because I think it's going to be super tough. But yeah, glad to have you guys all along for this ride. Next couple of weeks are going to be crazy. Yeah, live streaming every Tuesday night. That's the plan. That's what I've done for the past couple weeks, months maybe. Works out well for me and my family, and it works out well for all of you guys that join. So it's fun hanging out with you guys. Thank you so much for joining. Stick around this channel for training updates, do some gear reviews, stuff like that. Working towards solo 50 miler in a couple weeks, solo 100 miler pretty soon. So thank you guys for joining. I will see you again soon. Bye.